Good morning. It's the early show with Rick and Lola. One of the most iconic voices from the Discovery Network is that of Mike Rowe. We had a chance to visit with him regarding his podcast and his foundation. Here's a portion of that conversation.
Hey, Lola, how are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you so much for asking. We are talking today about your WORKS Foundation, and for where we are, we're in a kind of a rural area. There is a lot of conversation about skilled trades and pursuing careers in skilled trade. Tell us about your mikeroweWORKS Foundation and how people can be a part of it.
So mikeroweWORKS evolved somewhat organically out of dirty jobs. The show had been on the air for maybe 5 years and was kind of a big deal back in 2008. When our country was slipping into a recession, people started asking me for my take on all the unemployment that had been sort of defining the headlines in those days. And it was interesting for me because on dirty jobs, everywhere we went, we saw help wanted signs. And it just made me think that maybe there was another narrative going on in the country that wasn't getting a lot of press. Mm-hmm. Like this idea that high unemployment existed because there was no opportunity or no jobs. That's just not the case. There were several million open jobs in 2009, and today there are nearly 11 million open jobs in 2023. The interesting thing is most of those open jobs don't require a 4-year degree. They require training. They require the mastery of a useful skill. So mikeroweWORKS evolved out of dirty jobs as a PR campaign to shine a light on those kinds of jobs. It then turned into a scholarship fund, and today we award work ethic scholarships, a couple $1 million a year, to help train the next generation of skilled tradespeople. And that's what we've been doing for the last 15 years, and God willing, I'll do it for the next 15.
That's wonderful. How did COVID and kind of the change of the workforce model, as it were, affect your foundation?
Well, it's always interesting when the headlines make whatever you're doing relevant in ways that no one anticipated. That happened with dirty jobs back in the day, when all of a sudden this crazy show about feces from every species and exploding toilets and misadventures in animal husbandry suddenly launched 30 other shows and put me in front of Congress to talk about workforce issues and education issues. Nobody saw that coming. And obviously nobody saw the lockdowns coming. Dirty Jobs was out of production by then, but when essential work became headline news, I called the old crew and we got back together and we started shooting again because it just made sense to do that. And shooting more dirty jobs gave me more opportunity to talk about mikeroweWORKS. And mikeroweWORKS gave me more opportunity to raise more money for work ethic scholarships, which gave me permission to tell more stories about welders and mechanics who are making $150,000 a year with no college debt, and so forth. So the whole sort of virtuous cycle fired back up. And I'm certainly not saying the lockdowns were a good thing. I'm just saying that if there was a silver lining in all of it for me, it was the reinvigoration of the idea that there is a part of our workforce that we're all completely reliant upon. Mm-hmm. And the people who keep the lights on, and the people who keep the pipes connected, and the people who keep our internet signal robust, those are the people who are buttering our bread. And
right.
we ignore them at our peril.
Exactly. And that is something that we're seeing in our area a lot, is a lot of push towards learning a trade and not going into debt and being a skilled worker. I think wherever you are, you have an opportunity. If you ever tried to book an electrician, it takes them a while to be able to get you on their list. We need more.
That's right. I mean, look, and that's a really important point. Too often the conversation becomes just, okay, so what can an electrician make? Or maybe, this company needs electricians, and we should understand what the challenges are in hiring them. It's bigger than that. It's, to your point, how long do you want to wait for the electrician? How long do you want to wait for the plumber when you need one?
Right.
3 hours or 3 days? Right now, the answer is closer to 3 days.
Right.
And that's not good. And look, every single year for the last 20 years, for every 5 people who retire from the skilled trades, 2 replace them. Mm. That's bad math, right? That's dangerous math. And there will come a time when it tips, and that's going to be ugly. And so we're just trying to tap the country on the shoulder and say, look, maybe let's not wait for that to happen. Maybe let's celebrate some of these jobs that we actually rely upon and confront some of the stigmas and the stereotypes and the myths and the misperceptions that keep people from pursuing a skill that's in demand.
It's wonderful. And of course, if you would like to donate or learn more, you can visit mikeroweWORKS.org. And we're almost out of time. It's been a fascinating conversation with you. But we also want to talk about your podcast, The Way I Heard It, which is available everywhere you get your podcast and at mikerowe.com. What are some of your favorite topics?
Well, this is very similar to Dirty Jobs in the sense that there's no second take and there's no script and there's no celebrities. I interview people I think you should know who have done something kind of extraordinary in a very ordinary way. I just talked to a retired Green Beret who got about 500 loyal Afghans out of Afghanistan during the withdrawal from his cell phone and from his laptop. They literally built an underground railroad out of Afghanistan and saved hundreds of lives. That story's amazing. And to have it told to you firsthand over a beer is terrific, So I've been super lucky. We've been interviewing lots of ordinary people doing extraordinary things, and for whatever reason, 400 million people have downloaded it, and I'll keep doing it as long as they keep listening.
That's wonderful. And it is available on all the podcast platforms, and they can listen directly through your website at mikerowe.com, right?
That's correct.
All right.
Done your homework, Lola. Thank you.
I'm trying. And okay, so I have to be, you're the voice of the Deadliest catch. Sometimes when you're reading those scripts, do you just really, this is happening now?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my default position. I go through life in a constant state of holy crap, look at that, and Deadliest Catch was a big example. I was up there. Actually, I hosted the first season of that show. I worked on a crab boat up there as a greenhorn, and they I was trying to sell Dirty Jobs at the time, and nobody knew quite what to do, but when they saw that footage, they greenlit both shows, and I wound up narrating Deadliest Catch instead of hosting it.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I still sit there to this day. In fact, I'll be there later tomorrow, sitting in a booth, looking at footage of little crab boats in big weather off the Pribilof Islands somewhere near the Russian coast, and I'll be shaking my head as I narrate, wondering how in the hell these guys do it day after day.
Yeah, I know I couldn't do it.
Those stories are incredible.
They really, really are. And thank you so much for bringing them to us, Mike, on all of the levels that we've talked about. Well, I guess I am out of time. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we go?
Only that Lola is one of the most underrated names in the American lexicon, and I'm glad you were blessed with it. And what a treat to talk to you.
It's been great talking to you too. You have a great day.
I already did. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye. If you would like to catch this interview again, feel free to visit the podcast section of our website at 103CIR.com. It's the Early Show with Rick and Lola. Good morning.